I'm the founder of MyWikis, and we're a MediaWiki hosting provider. Today, I'll just give some updates about the Canasta project as a contributor to it for those updates that we've had since October 2022. So, what exactly is Canasta? It's an all-in-one MediaWiki package for sysadmins that makes it easy to manage MediaWiki, add extensions, and load starter content and data structures. So what I like to say it as is if MediaWiki is a Raspberry Pi, then you can think of Canasta as a Cana kit. So instead of getting MediaWiki on your own, spending hours upon hours getting introduced to the various extensions, learning how to install, difficult to install extensions like Sierra Search and Semantic MediaWiki, and then finally even trying to set up the structure of your own wiki, you can just reduce that time to live of your wiki by using Canasta and configuring it with ease. So sysadmins can literally save days of unnecessary work by simply using Canasta. It was originally developed by a mini consortium of 3 companies in the enterprise MediaWiki industry: WikiWorks, WikiTech, and MyWikis. We all share a common goal of sponsoring the development of Canasta, which is to make a fully featured, easy to maintain MediaWiki instance possible for all to use, not controlled by any single entity, and available online as free and open source software. We want to make sysadmins' jobs much easier, especially for the reluctant sysadmin who has to do it because it's their job to make a wiki that runs. So Canasta is not simply a Docker image, though, contrary to popular belief. Canasta is actually comprised of 3 components plus the CLI that are closely intertwined. The foundation of Canasta is going to be its tech stack. That's where the Docker image is located. It's what makes MediaWiki easier to manage and enables the other 2 components to make maximal impact. On top of the tech stack is going to be Canasta's large extensions and skins collection. Over 100 extensions and skins that are pre-bundled with Canasta and are made extremely easy to install. Finally, at the top is Canasta's starter page layouts and data structures. This aims to solve the blank page problem by reducing contribution inertia from wiki users and providing best practices for how to structure a wiki and how wiki pages should look like. These 3 components work together to provide the value that Canasta aims to deliver. Canasta is both beginner-friendly and suitable for MediaWiki experts. On behalf of WikiWorks, WikiTech, and MyWikis, I can say, since I have said last year, that we have all benefited from the decreased setup time, ease of applying updates, a reduction of services to maintain, greatly simplifying maintenance of the remaining services, and ability to scale wikis using the orchestrator, whether it's Docker Compose or Kubernetes. And that's given us back the time to work on more exciting development projects. So we can spend less time working on operations, more time on development. DevOps. Anyway, since Canasta's initial launch in April of last year, we're happy the U.S. Space Force is preparing to use Canasta to run wikis, and they released what's called a hardened version of Canasta that's been certified as secure by the United States Department of Defense. So that's called Iron Bank Canasta, and it runs on a modified stack that preserves the overall function while substituting core dependencies with U.S. government-approved alternatives. For instance, Debian, which is used to run the core Canasta web image, is replaced with a hardened version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And I just want to point out this is not an endorsement of Canasta, and the other logos were back when there were proposals to use Canasta for other projects, but I'm not sure if they followed up on it, but that was from EMWCon. Anyway, it's been a little over a year since Canasta was released to the public during last year's EMWCon in Houston. Since then, the Canasta web image has been downloaded almost 10,000 times. The project's code repos receive frequent updates from various contributors, both within and outside of the MediaWiki stakeholders and enterprise MediaWiki communities. A lot of ideas every month or even every few weeks about the future direction of Canasta. Moving on to the extensions and skins collection that we have. So, Canasta comes with over 100 pre-bundled extensions and skins. 100 pre-bundled extensions and a dozen or so skins. They are not enabled by default, but they can easily be enabled at any time without having to actually go and download anything additional. The general criteria for the extensions and skins that we've picked revolves around relevance and developer activity. While we have picked many extensions that add lots of great value to MediaWiki, we don't want to pick extensions that are redundant, nor do we want to pick any extensions that won't be maintained. This way we can try to reduce as much as possible any issues with upgrading to the next version of MediaWiki, which already happened, earlier. I'll touch on that later. The last component of Canasta is currently a work in progress, but sits atop the technology. Wikis are only as useful as the content that they have inside of them. Without a good page structure, supporting templates and forms and data structures, it's very difficult for many to overcome that blank page problem and contribution inertia. Page packages are a recent concept introduced to ship pre-made pages to the wiki as a starting point. The page exchange extension facilitates the packaging format and the importation, modification, and deletion of these packages. Canasta bundles the page extension, I keep messing that up, page exchange extension, which makes adding packages a breeze. So in the future, Canasta will aim to add more unique features to support the installation of packages, including through the CLI, the command line interface. So we hope that these will empower wiki champions to facilitate adoption of MediaWiki among their organization. Now, since October 2022, we've made a few major changes. So first, the latest version of Canasta now supports MediaWiki 1.39. Elasticsearch was upgraded to 7.10 as part of this process, but PHP currently remains on 7.4, while remaining PHP 8 compatibility issues are sorted out by the Wikimedia Foundation. Second, Canasta has moved to using PHP FPM and NPM event, which I'm personally actually very excited about. And that provides a multi-threaded implementation of PHP that pre-spawns enough processes to anticipate the demand of future web traffic. And that speeds up load times on average, while also keeping resource utilization efficient. Third, our Kubernetes implementation was recently rewritten to have component containers all run inside one pod. The component containers that I'm mentioning comprise of the Canasta web container, as well as the sidecars, including Elasticsearch, the database, Varnish, and the Caddy TLS termination proxy. This rewrite has been completed for the web and Elasticsearch containers, while working on adding the rest of the containers that'll be completed in the future. Last but not least, we also now officially ship and support the ARM v8 architecture, more correctly known as AR64. This allows Apple Silicon Macs to use Canasta plus other ARM systems on various cloud providers such as AWS and Oracle. And then they can now run on more energy efficient servers because they're more energy efficient chips to keep operational costs down. What is next for Canasta? Currently, our main development goals for the future are related to supporting multiple MediaWiki instances on the same Canasta instance. So basically wiki farm support. And we hope to select a Google Summer of Code contributor very soon to work on implementing wiki farm support to have multiple wikis in the same Canasta container. This may include multi-domain support through traffic as well, which if all goes to plan would replace Caddy. That last part is to be officially decided, but just something to throw out there. And for those of you who are not familiar with traffic and Caddy, they are both TLS termination proxies, which is an extremely fancy way of saying the front gate of everything that offers the HTTPS certificate. Canasta's plan for wiki farm support is inspired by the Wikimedia Foundation's approach. So one single instance of Canasta, which would typically comprise of one web container, would then be able to handle requests for multiple wikis. Each wiki will still have its own database. The correct wiki settings and database will be selected based on which URL is being requested by the client. The Canasta wiki farm would most likely be defined by a YAML configuration whose schema would be set by us Canasta contributors. Using this approach allows us to take advantage of the PHP opcode cache. Since all wikis will use the same MediaWiki code base, it can be cached once on the very first page load, support all future execution, be used until the very end of the container's life. The goal is to support 3 different use cases. First, when a different directory is used. Second, when a different subdomain is used. And third, when different domains are used for each wiki. So what's next for Canasta? First, adding custom composer files has been difficult to accomplish in the past year due to intricacies with the composer merge plugin. And to be quite frank, developers are also busy with their own, jobs. Technical considerations, though, do require further discussions on how to best implement that customization of a wiki's composer. Second, we need to refine support for orchestrators other than Docker Compose. Specifically, we have ongoing discussions about the best way to design our Kubernetes implementation, including creating Helm charts to ease the deployment of Kubernetes instances. On two separate related notes, we also intend to add Kubernetes support to the Canasta CLI, so wikis can be created using Kubernetes with just one CLI command. We hope to improve support for we hope to improve support for cloud container services that are independent of Kubernetes. Amazon Web Services ECS, Elastic Container Service, and Azure Container Instances. Now, we've been using Docker Compose because its primary strength is it's lightweight, simple, and straightforward to use. Our CLI has been built around Docker Compose. The lack of complexity has actually allowed the Canasta developers to easily develop abstractions over Docker Compose on the CLI and the image itself while achieving our original goals. To elaborate on the previous slides, Kubernetes support boost, we hope to enhance our Kubernetes ecosystem by building tools to leverage Helm and Terraform, as well as work towards natively supporting horizontal scaling. The exact implementation is still up for discussion, but suggestions are very much appreciated. And our development has moved to two different tracks. So one's the latest version, which receives the newest PR changes immediately. That ensures development isn't ever halted due to bureaucracy, and the latest features always pushed. The other is a stable version, which will have changes slowly applied to it after it's been proven to work well on the latest track. And with this change, enterprise users continue to get a guarantee of stability, while users who live on the cutting edge aren't left behind. So this is really important news for those of you who have been debating using Canasta because the cadence of release of new features is too slow. This will help you not have to choose anymore. You can live life on the cutting edge, or you can live life in slow and steady lanes. One major change we intend to move towards is splitting the web and maintenance containers. Right now, all the MediaWiki maintenance scripts that run in the background, they live in the web container. And in the spirit of Docker's one main process per container paradigm, that change here would move scripts like the job runner, the sitemap generator, the media transcoder, and other scripts into their own dedicated container that runs PHP but not Apache. By separating these two containers, we can actually improve resource management, ensure rep requests are never held back by background jobs being run, and allows for a more practical approach to horizontally scaling the web containers while preventing race conditions that would happen if multiple containers were to run maintenance scripts at the same time. With this approach, horizontal scaling of the web containers would be possible, while we place a limitation on the maintenance container to only be vertically scalable. Aside from the various changes proposed for the tech stack, there's always room to add more extensions. I'm really sorry for the wall of text here, but Canasta's collection of bundled extensions and skins currently consists of over 100 of them, and we select new extensions in a fair manner while ensuring the extension target audience and stable enough for inclusion. A new workflow for proposed skins is currently being used. It starts with nominating extensions and skins on the Canasta GitHub repo in the issue section. Each extension and skin should have its own issue to track its nomination, which I'll explain on the following slide. The nomination should be seconded by somebody else before the extension can be considered for inclusion. Then the community discusses the inclusion until consensus can be reached to either include or exclude the extension or skin. Anyone is welcome to participate in the discussion. Lastly, the inclusion of the extension or skin hedges on whether the volunteer who's interested in doing so has a pull request that gets through. A few of our criteria for review here are stringent, while the rest are highly recommended. All extensions and skins, for legal reasons, must be compatible with the MIT license, so that's a legal requirement. They must be actively maintained, both currently and in the foreseeable future. That is also a stringent requirement. But some of the consideration criteria that are suggested, at least for evaluation, include: is this extension established and has many examples of successful usage? preferably evidence that several significant wikis are using the extension or skin. Whether the extension would be reasonably relevant to a significant number of Canasta users, should differentiate itself from the other extensions already bundled in Canasta, so there's no duplicate functionality, and thorough testing and code review should have been completed. Finally, we want to keep adding more starter pages and data structures to Canasta, as there are many permutations of starter data structures for each use case of MediaWiki. We have stated for over a year that we want to build a robust, comprehensive library of starter pages and data structures that lets Canasta also make it easy to get content set up on the wiki fast. Now, packages that can easily be enabled in Canasta, and I'll show this to you. But I also want to quickly add before we go there that adding packages and data structures will also be facilitated by the Canasta CLI in the future. So not now, but we'll get to it. So yeah, today we're pleased to announce Canasta PM, a package for project management within MediaWiki. PM stands for project management. Canasta PM is a package of pages, forms, and templates that form a package for project management. It is based on semantic actions, which is an extension that does something similar. Canasta PM facilitates creating Kanban boards that run natively in MediaWiki with a few fundamental extensions, such as page forms and cargo, which in my opinion, if you don't use page forms on your wiki, then is that really a wiki? But anyway, through Canasta, it's trivial to install the prerequisite extensions that need to be used for Canasta PM. Also, contrary to public opinion or public perception or whatever, Canasta PM is not an alternative for Tylenol PM. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, the installation is actually straightforward and easy. First, you just want to enable the page exchange extension, as well as the prerequisites for this package, which will be shown on the page exchange package installation page anyway. This is simple to do with the Canasta CLI. And when you're not using Canasta, it's the same thing, but you have to install all the extensions manually. And then next, you would just add 2 lines to your local settings.php that adds a source for page exchange that allows for easy installation of the package. Without further ado, I will now give you a demo of how we.
Jeffrey, when you do switch over, can you hide your video?
Yes. Oh, was I sharing my video the whole time? My bad. Okay. All right. So let's go. Whoops, wrong. Don't look at that. Okay, let's do this. So what I have here is a Canasta instance that I've already spun up in the interest of time. I know we're running late, my apologies. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start up this instance of Canasta with the CLI. So I'll just do Canasta start, and it's now started. I think I might have to wait a little bit for the varnish. My varnish is up, but for the web container to actually wake up fully. But in the meantime, let me explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this this line here, and I'm going to go and install the extensions. So actually, I probably should have done that before I started Canasta, but that's fine. And by just copy pasting this, I am able to basically have everything that I need for the extensions enabled in one go. Now, usually if I were to try to install it without, actually having these extensions enabled, what I mean by that is I try to install a package, the Canasta PM package, without the extensions enabled. It would provide an error message that would be like, did I not show it? Doesn't show it, but anyway, it would say like, you don't have these extensions, go back and install them. So yeah. All right, we should be able to access Canasta now through my local host. Cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add 2 lines to our local settings.php. And I'm going to go to the bottom here. I'm going to just save these. Okay, so just gonna log in here real quick. Yes, so now MediaWiki has been installed, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm going to do now is go to special packages, and that's the special page where you can install page exchange packages. Yeah, so I unofficially installed it, I guess, because I installed it last night. But yeah, it's this page is already found in the wiki, so I'm just going to reinstall it, I guess. And what this does is it's going to download the package that I just for which the URL was added just now to local settings. And I'm going to just press install because it'll just kind of copy those, pages from the source. And now that it's copied over, I press install. Now it's installed. So what I can do now is I can go to the project form and I can create a project. So let's call it project, since we're in Texas, Project Longhorn, also to honor my alma mater. Let's say that we have this project that's due in 2 weeks that starts today. We'll just say it's in progress. I think that's fine for now. Yeah, and let's just save that. So now we're in this project and we can add a task. One thing to keep in mind is that the creation of all of these pages in the package do go through the job queue. So if you look at the recent changes, for instance, it's going to be doing a lot of stuff on the job queue. And a reminder that Canasta runs that job queue automatically. So we might have to wait a little bit to see everything. But essentially, something else you can check is because the package uses cargo, you can check the cargo tables to make sure that everything is peachy and that it is working. So in this case, I think tasks and statuses might be in need of some love. So I'm going to recreate that data real quick. And then for statuses as well, let's recreate it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the recreation seems to have helped a little bit. I can go back to doing now is I can refresh it, and there we go. Look at that. We have 6 different statuses that you see usually in Scrum and Kanban. So now I'm just going to create a task that'll make Lego KTM happy, and then just say, due date, whatever. I'll just say John Doe is assigned to this task status in progress. We can say that this is important but not urgent. Excuse me. And yep, create that. We can put in some details, but in the interest of time, let me just go back. And now you can see we have a Kanban board here and it's in progress. And let's say that I'm now ready for it to be in review. I'll just drag it over and there you go. And if we go over to the page itself, you can actually see that the status has also changed. Yeah. So you don't even have to go edit anything. You don't have to go to edit the form. You just drag and drop. So I hope that everyone enjoys using Canasta PM. It was developed jointly by WikiWorks and Wikitext, so we can thank them for that. Last but not least, let me just wrap this up real quick. So we really need contributions. Again, Canasta would not have been possible without open source community support. I want to take this opportunity right now to recognize everyone who has begun to use Canasta since our launch at EMWCon 2022 in April of last year. Without your support, Canasta simply wouldn't be possible. And to keep Canasta thriving in the future, we have 3 asks. First, Canasta always appreciates new development contributions. We need lots of work to be done for adding new but essential features. The more contributors and the more users of Canasta, the better it will be for everyone. Second, the future of Canasta is up to the community to decide. And I encourage everyone to join our mailing list. I forgot what the URL is, but you can look it up, I guess. And not only will you be able to keep up to date with the latest developments, but the mailing list is also where we make important decisions or propose them for future development directions of Canasta. You can also visit the mailing list for more details on joining our bi-weekly cadence meetings, which is our forum for synchronously discussing topics pertaining to the development and usage of Canasta. And that has been instrumental in providing future direction. So I really encourage you to come and join. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions. It'll be a really good forum to discuss those things. And third, to fund the development of Canasta, we need your financial support to sustain our development initiatives. This helps pay for young volunteers to get the stipend to be able to work on Canasta's important features. So please talk to me or talk to your own if you are interested in donating to sponsor our part-time young developers to have a stipend. And let me see. Yeah, so for more information about Canasta, you can visit our website, canasta.wiki. Our source code is open source and can be found on our GitHub, and we really would appreciate any contributions you have to it. We're currently using the GitHub issues feature to track as a central discussion point for both bug reports and feature requests of Canasta. So it might be called issues, but actually there's also non-issues that are just on that tracker. So be sure to go and suggest something. Don't be shy. We hope to see you there soon. And I want to open the floor up for questions now. Thank you. Do we have any from Hopin? Okay, that's fine. I think the thing is that I've been presenting about Canasta for like every 6 months now since last year or so. And it's okay if we don't have too many questions, but Rich has a question.
I do, thank you. And this might be a question you've asked or answered already.
Mhm.
So is it possible to sort of pick and choose the degree to which you want the extensions that Canasta offers by default? Can you add additional extensions and sort of go off script? And specifically, as I see it, Canasta is providing like one of the tech stack is a really big part of wiki administration. And then getting the extensions added is maybe the next big part of setting up a fully featured MediaWiki server. Do you know offhand if Canasta is compatible with OpenCSP?
Okay, that was a very long question, but let me just try to paraphrase it down. So basically, is Canasta like a pick and choose style thing? Can you add extensions that are not already bundled into Canasta? And is Canasta compatible with OpenCSP? Answer the first question, yes, you can pick and choose. Second question, yes, you can add custom extensions. The instructions on how to do that are available in our previous two EMWCon presentations. And for the purposes of concision, I kind of left them out in this one. But yeah, the third one, you can also look back to the SMWCon umbrella is what is Canasta's status with OpenCSP? I know there were a lot of discussions last year about merging Canasta with OpenCSP, but that would be like saying, oh, let's breed this banana tree with an apple tree, right? It doesn't make any sense. You can have both at the same time. So it is compatible, I think. We were working last year with Wikibase Solutions on getting OpenCSP to run on Canasta, but I don't think there's been much progress since November, unfortunately. But I got like a proof of concept working. So, you know, if you want to go try that out, I'm happy to share it with you in the Create Camp tomorrow. It's been a few months since we worked on that, but, you know, I think it can still work. So, yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Question on Hopin. Oh, sorry. I was on the backstage. I was like, what? There's no questions. Question from Jared. Briefly, how does Canasta use Composer, and what are future plans for support? So right now, Canasta just has its own Composer file, and we don't really expose it to the outside world. And primarily because the way that we work with like local settings is that we have like a secret local settings inside that we do our own thing. And then we do a require once for like the public facing Canasta local settings that the sysadmin actually sees. So we're able to like inject our own things into there and prepare things out before we give it to someone else. So we have that two-step process of like having our own thing and then having the sysadmin's own, you know, their stuff. We can't really do that very easily with Composer. We have the Composer merge plugin, but you know, it's for various reasons, it's just very complicated to get that working. And we're right now just considering just letting people just, you know, have a template Composer, just editing that. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it would probably be the solution we're going to go with for now. So yeah, basically Canasta does not support Composer very well because it can't be customized very much. So all the bundled extensions that require stuff on Composer will have it, but other than that, not really. And then so yeah, future plans would be, we'll see. And this is exactly why we encourage everyone to come and contribute. You know, you don't have to be a longtime contributor of anything. You can just come in and what do you call it? Make your suggestions heard. I think Jared personally, he kind of joined our Canasta cadence meetings, several months ago, and he's been instrumental in suggesting things and saying, hey, here's what we use at the Space Force. Here's what we need, and we worked on implementing those suggestions pretty quickly whenever possible. So yeah. Awesome. Well, in the interest of time, and I know everyone wants to take a break, I'll go ahead and stop the presentation for now. But yeah, thank you everyone, and I'll take questions on a hop-in if you have any more.